Welcome back to Buy or Buy. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're diving into what is, without a doubt, the most undervalued, insanely reliable luxury SUV on the entire used market right now. We are talking exclusively about the 2008 to 2021 Lexus LX 570, specifically that J200 third-generation, full-size, body-on-frame masterpiece. The depreciation curve on this thing has finally bottomed out, and you really need to know exactly what you're looking at before these vanish into the private garages of collectors. You know, the running joke in the automotive world is that the LX 570 is basically what happens when Toyota looks at their legendary Land Cruiser 200, decides to wrap the whole thing in incredibly plush semi-aniline leather, stuffs it full of Mark Levinson speakers, tacks an extra $25,000 onto the price tag for that Lexus badge, and then drops in the exact same completely indestructible 5.7-liter V8 they put in the Tundra work truck. And then they just sit back with a bit of a conspiratorial grin and watch as every Range Rover owner wonders why their air suspension just blew out for the third time, while the LX next door is casually cruising past 250,000 miles on its original engine. It's literally a luxury tank. Section 1. Deliberate engineering and specifications. The LX 570 wasn't just slapped together. It carries an incredible pedigree. Built right at Toyota's Yoshiwara plant in Japan on the legendary J200 body-on-frame platform. That's the exact same ultra-rigid foundation shared with the Land Cruiser 200 series. Now, I really want you to stop and think about this number for a second. 800,000 miles. The heart of this beast is the 5.7-liter 3URFE naturally aspirated V8, and during its development, Toyota deliberately durability tested this specific engine platform to survive over 800,000 miles. That is a level of intentional, borderline obsessive over-engineering that we frankly just do not see anymore in the modern automotive landscape. And hey, it's not just durable, it's incredibly capable. This aluminum block V8 features dual overhead cams and 32 valves. It's pushing out 383 horsepower at 5,600 RPM. But honestly, the much more important number here is the torque. You're getting 403 pound-feet of torque, and it peaks at a really low 3,600 RPM. That low-end grunt is exactly what gives this massive luxury SUV its effortless, riding on a wave of power feeling when you're out on the highway.
So what else makes it tick?
Well, you're getting a full-time four-wheel drive system paired with a Torsen center differential. It also comes packed with Toyota's famous crawl control, plus a highly advanced active height control hydraulic suspension system. Add in 8.9 inches of ground clearance and a massive 8,500-pound towing capacity, and you've got a seriously capable rig. Oh, and a quick note on the transmission. From 2008 to 2015, this was hooked up to a rock-solid 6-speed automatic, which they eventually swapped out for an even smoother 8-speed automatic during the big 2016 facelift. Section 2. Why this is a buy. Way back in 2009, the LX 570 absolutely crushed the J.D. Power initial quality study, taking the top score. But back then, brand new, this thing carried an MSRP ranging from $78,000 all the way up to $93,000 by 2021. Today, though, that brutal luxury depreciation curve is finally flattened out, meaning we get to buy one of the most reliable vehicles on planet Earth for just a fraction of its original cost. Let's break down the used market into 3 distinct buying tiers. First up, the value pick. That's your 2008 to 2012 models. With 100,000 to 180,000 miles on the clock, these are trading right around $25,000 to $38,000. It's an absolute steal. But if you want my top recommendation for a daily driver, you want the sweet spot. That's the 2016 to 2018 facelift. You get the updated 8-speed automatic, the massive spindle grille, and that huge 12.3-inch infotainment screen, all landing perfectly between $45,000 and $70,000. Finally, we've got the future collector tier. These are the 2020 to 2021 Inspiration Series models, and they are holding their value incredibly firmly, staying well above $80,000. Section 3. Known issues and realities. Okay, I want to slow the pace down for just a second here, because if you're seriously considering buying a heavy luxury SUV, you absolutely need to know exactly where the financial pain points are. Yes, this is a remarkably reliable vehicle, but it isn't completely immune to wear and tear. And let's be real, luxury parts come with luxury price tags.
Let's talk about the major money pit risks. The absolute #1 repair item on the LX 570 is that active height control, or AHC hydraulic suspension. As these vehicles age, components will fail, and you're looking at anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 per part, plus labor, to get it fixed. Next up, if you're shopping those early 2008 to 2010 builds, watch out for cam tower oil leaks on the V8. Resealing those can easily set you back $2,500 to $4,500. And once you cross that 100,000-mile mark, definitely budget for intake manifold gasket leaks, which usually run about $600 to $1,200, and premature water pump failures that'll cost around $800 to $1,500.
There are also a few high-mileage realities you just have to accept. You might run into some oil consumption caused by stuck PCV valves, occasional fuel injector clogging, or some timing chain tensioner wear once you're well past 100,000 miles. Inside the cabin, those gorgeous 19-speaker Mark Levinson amplifiers have a known habit of overheating and failing. And tech-wise, guys, I really want to emphasize this so there are zero surprises. The factory infotainment on these completely lacks Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support. Finally, keep in mind that Lexus only built about 3,000 of these a year for the US market, so replacement parts are largely OEM only, and yeah, they are expensive.
And then, well, there's the giant elephant in the room. 13 miles per gallon in the city and 18 on the highway. Look, this is just the dismal reality of fueling a 6,600-pound permanent four-wheel drive V8 tank. You must deliberately budget for your fuel economy because it will quickly drain its 25-gallon tank. Section 4. Stacking up the competition. So, how does the LX 570 actually compare to everything else out there on the used market? Let's run through a rapid-fire comparison. First up, the Toyota Land Cruiser 200, which is essentially the exact same vehicle minus the Lexus badge. We've done an explainer on the LC200 before, and it's actually our #1 topic with a huge click-through rate. The Land Cruiser is slightly cheaper used, but the LX 570 gives you a noticeably better, far more luxurious interior. If you look at the older LX 470, the 570 steps it up with that massive 5.7-liter V8 instead of the old 4.7, making it way more capable. Compared to the smaller GX 460, which we've also covered, the LX is significantly wider and more refined. Against a contemporary Range Rover, the LX offers vastly, almost comically better reliability for around the same money. And finally, against the brand new $115,000 LX 600, the 570 keeps that classic, indestructible analog V8 that the new twin-turbo V6 setup completely ditched. Section 5. The final verdict. All right, it is time for the gavel drop ruling on why the discontinued J200 LX 570 demands your attention right now. The verdict on buy or buy is a massive, resounding buy. Look, this is hands down the most undervalued, reliable, luxury SUV on the market today. It is quite literally a Land Cruiser 200 wrapped in an ultra-premium Lexus interior. That 3URFE V8 is durability tested to over 800,000 miles. Honestly, that AHC suspension is the only true financial risk you are taking here. And here is the ultimate kicker. As the new LX 600 rolls into dealerships commanding over $115,000 with a twin-turbo V6, this indestructible analog 5.7-liter V8 LX 570 is going to go down as the absolute pinnacle of body-on-frame Lexus engineering. It's the one everyone is going to look back on and wish they had bought. So I want to leave you with this question to chew on. Will you secure a V8 LX 570 for yourself before the broader market truly wakes up and realizes what it's losing? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me on this buy or buy explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.